The Back Yourself podcast is unfortunately here to review week, 12 in the NRL.
The underdog
came for blood game after game after game. And just when you think you've seen it all,
you get it
comes
all.
Daniel Tupou. But yeah, really that kind of speaks for itself. I guess we go straight into the blockbuster news of today. I think that's probably more important than the autistic results of this round. Chrissy, which shout out to Chris Crias, Matt, Bitcoin, Jerry, Montoya, thank you for your service. Toby Sexton.
Why Montoya thinking? Well, he's not going to play anymore.
Well, there's a 5% chance in my mind that Birdo goes to left center and Jerry goes to wing. But in the case that
I'd keep Montoya.
Sexy Toby gets dropped for the rest of his eternity.
I don't think they
for the savior, Lachlan Galvin. Shout out to all you boys in the kennel. After getting absolutely bent over on Thursday night, you come out with a win in the weekend by getting the hottest commodity in the NRL. Lachlan Galvin verbally agrees, and the Tigers, the spineless cunts that they are, part ways.
This is all Tigers' fault.
As an investment to get a $150,000 payout for Galvin and don't even get a player back, reportedly. What did you make of the breaking news that Lachlan Galvin of War is going
You want to start with Tigers or Dogs?
I'll do the Tiger side of things.
No. I just want to say they're probably the most spineless club in the competition.
Okay.
There is no reason to let... Honestly, if you wanted to early release the Titans, I'd be like, all right, go, bro.
I would say...
You can't, let him go to any of these clubs. I don't understand.
Okay, I would say this. Initially, Tigers dug their heels in and they were like...
No,
we're going to keep you no matter what. You will serve out your 18 months of this contract.
2 seconds later.
I feel like that was their intention and they were ready to stick by it. However, morale in the club was in the fucking toilet. And from the point that Galvin made that announcement that he doesn't give a fuck about Benji or this team, I feel like it's hard for the players to look at him in the eye pre-game across the dressing room, knowing that he doesn't give a fuck about them, to run out and have a go. And I feel like it has been reflected in their performances.
I agree.
Now, there is the actual footy side of things. And if they run out Latu Fanu, they're lucky to get 1 win a month for the rest of the year.
No, it's going to be Dewey for a bit.
That's even worse. I'm not disputing that they're not good. Without him, they're not. As we've seen Luai, he's steering the troops around. They can't score, essentially.
They can't score.
They struggle to score with Galvin. Without him, they literally can't score. But there is the human element of things where, all right, you don't want to be here, get the fuck out. At the end of the day, it's Tigers, so I'm not going to be like, wow, what a statement you guys made, because they're just still a shit club, and until they really do turn things around, they're still a shit club, and it doesn't really matter. But what benefit do they get out of keeping him for another 18 months, just for the rest of the team to end up giving up because of him? I reckon fair enough.
Look, this is the problem. Tigers change their minds way too often. This is the issue, right? When Galvin's first news, I'm not going to sign for Tigers were like, we're getting this out of our locker room. We don't want him against
Reserve grade, yeah.
Reserve grade, right? If you were going to fucking let him go, then why didn't he just play reserve grade the entire time? Fuck this cunt. Why bring him back?
Yeah, why'd they bring him back?
Why'd you bring him back? If the only reason you bring him back is to be like, okay, we're going to see out your contract, so you're just going to play footy, right? We're going to play footy, whatever happens. 2 weeks after, 3 weeks. How many weeks has it been? 3 weeks?
Something like that.
They go, nah, you know what? He's a good bloke. We're going to let him go.
Yeah.
Stupid. Absolutely spineless team, the Tigers are. And
so you're saying they should have actually just fucked him off the reserve grade for 18 months?
No. If you're gonna early release him, he should have played reserve grade this entire time.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
There's no reason for him to come back in the first team, and then you'll be like, oh, he's a bit of a disruption. We'll get rid of him.
Well, actually, I was overseas when this happened. Why did they bring him back?
Because they couldn't score.
That's a piss weak reason to bring him back.
There's no other reason.
Yeah.
Because what the early release indicates to me is they don't want that nuisance in the locker room, right? Which is fine.
Which is why you dropped him
in the first place. It's just a fucking stupid club. I'm so sick of them. Honestly, I will give any Tigers fan, including yourself and myself, license to change teams after this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, fuck this.
This is the worst. I would say this is the worst out of all the ones we've let go. For sure.
Yeah, it's up there.
The way it happened is just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really through any fault of their own. He's just I don't want to play here. You can't really do anything.
Yeah, I know, but that's fine.
At the point he said, I don't want to play here, I'm pretty sure they were 5-3.
Yeah.
All right, If you want to go and be fucking 10-1, you're not going to get those
Sure,
targets.
like
Sure.
I get it, but like just from that point, they've just done
The
everything
sequence of
wrong.
events is just
They've just done everything wrong.
If anything, it shows that he's probably made the right call, being like, yeah, I really don't want to play here.
Yeah.
Like, you guys have no clue. So
Yeah.
that's fine. On the Bullfrogs side of things, you have a few comments.
Oh, well, the premierships. Look, you guys are. If we don't get a Dogs Melbourne grand final, something's wrong. Simple. They should make the grand final, hands down. If Galvin obviously plays this for Dogs, which I think he's going to play conveniently the King's birthday game, which Dogs will be favourite for once, and also against Para, which is the team he was supposed to go to. But this, honestly, it should be Dogs Melbourne, and no one should question it. There is no reason for any other team to have a chance at this point. Everyone else looks as garbage as each other, and these guys added Galvin. Look,
Who wins on grand final day?
I'm tipping Dogs. From here, I'm tipping Dogs. Okay. I think Dogs win the grand final, and let's see how good they are. Now the pressure's on, right? There's no excuse anymore. You have the talent.
No, but what about our chemistry?
Listen, I think it was the Touchline podcast or some garbage center post. Oh, he sat there and he made the reel. You can tag him into this because I don't give a fuck. He sat there and went, he's gonna mess up the locker room and he's gonna change the sequence and Dogs just won't be Dogs anymore. We rather Sexton. Fucking wake up. Sexton to Galvin? Are you serious? Are you deadly serious? And you're like, you know what? I'll rather Sexton.
100% the Dogs fans going to come for you for that, which is insane.
Why? You got Galvin. He stole my team's player. Right. And you're like, nah.
Number one, the Dogs fans. You can't just literally pray to Gus every night.
Yeah,
to take you from signing Kotrick and Corey Allen and going 4-50 every year to now you're like so entitled that you're like, we don't really want this 19-year-old that Gus said is the best player, like best teenage talent he's ever seen in his fucking 60 years of watching the sport. You're like, no, we want the Titans reject Toby Sexton instead of
He's a Titans reject at the end of the day.
That's you can simultaneously say, oh, I'm a little bit worried about the next 1 or 2 months because he's a big piece to integrate into the team. But for you cunts to be like, oh, we don't want Galvin, we've got this guy, like, just stay in your lane a little bit, boys. Yeah. Come on, wake up.
Look.
On the second part of things, I want to call you out because you actually really pissed me off with this take.
Yeah.
Because you've been banging the drum the entire year. These were your 2 points. Preseason and week to week, and you haven't, like, budged from this whatsoever. Number one, Melbourne is... The comp's already won. Melbourne Storm is engraved on the trophy, and no one can compete with these cunts.
I didn't know Galvin was available.
And number two, you didn't say Dogs are going to narrowly lose to them in the grand final. You have been on record 100 times over saying Sharks are going to lose to Melbourne narrowly in the grand final.
Yes, that's my...
So, you're essentially implying that taking out Sexton and replacing him by Galvin not only makes the Dogs leapfrog the Sharks to grand final day, but you went from 4 hours ago being like, Melbourne they've already won the fucking competition and it's over. And now you think that by signing Galvin and playing him instead of Sexton, a 19-year-old kid is now going to go and feed Melbourne on grand final.
Yep, they will win. They are the best team now. Listen, what is the Dogs' problem? What's the one thing they have an issue with?
Nothing.
No, they have issues. That's why I didn't have... Okay, if they're nothing, then how come they can't win the grand final? Melbourne's just that much better than them.
They are... High-end talent in the playmaking positions is not up to Melbourne's.
I agree.
And their big game experience is not up to Melbourne's.
I agree. But they're going to have that experience by the time then. Every single game now is going to be a big game. Well, you can't expect them to lose even a single game from this point.
Well, by beating Warriors, that's big game experience.
It doesn't matter. They beat Sharks with nothing.
No. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing good about Sharks.
No, we'll get. Yeah, obviously, we'll quickly get past them because you can't beat Daniel Tupou.
I'm not taking anything away from you being like, oh, now they'll rep Sharks, now they'll rep Manly, blah, blah. Okay. But I don't understand how Melbourne can be like $2.40 to win the comp, and now you're like, oh yeah, they'll lose to the 19-year-old Lachlan Galvin.
They will.
No,
the Dogs' defense is better than Melbourne's.
It was always better than Melbourne.
It was always better than Melbourne's. What could Dogs not do? Score. You've actually...
The average like 26 points.
You know what's interesting? In the last podcast, you're calling me out, I'll call you out. You said Melbourne looks soft.
Yeah, they do look soft.
So, if Melbourne are soft and they're playing a Dogs team who are not soft at all,
Okay.
How can you sit there and go, all right, plus Galvin, they're not going to be any better?
Because I trust that come finals footy, Melbourne won't be soft.
Okay, and I trust the Dogs will be exactly the same as they are. So if Melbourne are not soft, yeah, they might not fucking just roll them, but it's going to be competitive with each other. You're saying the playmakers are going to be good enough to win them the game.
No. I said...
The Melbourne ones, I'm saying.
What I said was, before they got Galvin, I said Dogs and Melbourne will be close. I've been consistent. What I'm saying is...
Yeah, I said Melbourne Sharks.
Yeah, you went from, oh no, Dogs can't even beat Sharks, to now like, oh yeah, Dogs will beat Melbourne.
Well, they're the top 3 teams. I'm not really making much of a difference. They're a top 3 teams. Yes, Sharks lost to fucking Tupou, we get it. But that's not the point. They're the best 3 teams in the competition.
I know, but... You implied that the gap between Melbourne and Dogs was here 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
Because you said,
they signed Galvin.
Melbourne's already won the thing.
They signed Lachlan Galvin.
I have a hard time thinking that a 19-year-old
I don't think you understand how bad Tigers are without him. That's your issue. You haven't watched how bad they are.
Tigers might not win a game for 2 months.
Yeah, well, if you agree with that, he's such a big piece. And the way they're going to run it, in my opinion, the best way you can run Dogs is put Burden to centre and keep Sexton there. And your centres will... I don't care who plays wing. Montoya, Jerry, it's all the same fucking garbage.
I think it'd be Jerry to the wing,
sure,
Burdo to left centre, Galvin and Sexton.
Literally, you have endless options. You have so much impact on that edge, which is fucked. Like, that left edge is going to be terrorising.
Yeah.
Galvin to kick out to Burden. I mean... What the fuck? What are you supposed to do? Yeah, what are you supposed to do with that edge? And on the other side, you got Kiraz and Critter.
Yeah.
This team is absolutely stacked. Okay, maybe their fullback isn't the greatest. Tracy is serviceable with this team. Literally, he is. The forwards might not be there. The forwards have proved the whole year that they've been great anyway. Even last year, they were fantastic.
Yeah, the forwards are really good.
The forwards are good. There's no flaws. I actually think, like, with Galvin, he's the exact piece that Gus was looking for. Yeah, Gus came out and said, we were actually looking for him. He's talking shit at this point, right? And from Galvin's perspective, he knows his job. At this point, he comes into Dogs and he's like, all right, I have to win a comp. It's simple. Why else am I here? Otherwise, I would have went to Para.
Yeah.
Para in the, like, sitting next to Moses is obviously better sitting next to Sexton. But he's looking at this and being like, all right, I'm here for a reason. And Gus has told him this. Gus has signed him saying, all right, I need one more piece to fucking win me a comp. I want Galvin.
I'm not sure Gus's timeline is the next 3 months. I think, like, the Dogs, in my opinion, with Galvin, will win at least one comp in the next 3 years, definitely. Yeah. But I don't think you can just thrust a 19-year-old kid into this sort of a situation and then be like, oh, now they'll rep Melbourne.
I think he's talented enough that they can.
I'm not doubting his talent. He's one of the most talented kids I've ever seen.
I think that...
I'm not sure talent, like... We've seen more talented young teams go and get raped by the, like, veterans. We saw that with Broncos Penrith. We saw that with Penrith Melbourne. We saw that with literally everyone.
They're young, but they have experience as well. A lot of them have been to grand finals before.
Literally just the Panthers can't.
Yeah, and that's half their team. And Reid Marnie.
Melbourne literally were in the grand final last year.
I get it. It literally... I'm not saying Dogs will destroy Melbourne. Yeah. I am saying they will win on grand final day if it gets to it. I will take Dogs. I can't take this Melbourne team right now.
I don't dislike your... like the way you're saying that they can win because they can. I'm not going to sit here and be like Dogs can't win the comp, but I'm just like, so like 4 hours ago you're like they can't win.
Galvin makes a difference.
Okay, a lot of pressure.
I don't know what you want me to say. Galvin makes the difference. No. Is Galvin not that bright guy? He is.
I don't think Burdo and Sexton were playing bad enough for you to be like, oh, the half.
No. It's not. It's not that it's not. Well, it's not the problem that they're playing bad enough. It's that they needed that spark.
Yeah.
And here's the X factor. Burden can be an X factor. Burden at centre is going to be fucked. I mean, he was the Dally M Centre of the Year. They've got 2 Dally M Centre of the Years. They've got a second rower of the year. And they've got probably the most, like, prospected best player at 5'8".
Not to mention Preston.
Kickout.
Kiraz.
What the fuck do you do with this team? It's fucked.
They became, like, really fucked up out of nowhere.
Because you drop, like, dropping Jerry or Montoya. Whoever's on the wing, it doesn't matter. They're going to score 500 tries on that edge. I mean, who do you come in on? You come in on Kiraz, or you take out the ball playing of Galvin. Galvin can just hit the winger in one go.
Yeah. No,
he's probably got better ball playing than Burden does anyway.
Yeah, they're fucked. Like, they're...
And that's what I'm saying, right? You might not agree that they will beat Melbourne in the grand final. But these two teams in my opinion, draw the line right now. They both have to be in the grand final.
Yeah, I agree
there
with
is
you.
no reason for anyone else to be.
I mean, shout out to the Raiders, I guess, but I can't see Raiders, Sharks, Manly, Warriors, Broncos.
Nah.
You name it. There's no reason for either of them to
There is.
lose to any of those seven sides.
If you got like make the grand final, I would put $1.40, $1.40. There's no reason for anyone else to make it.
Same, yeah. Like an exacta, which should be like
Just $2. It
these
shouldn't
two
be.
cunts in the field.
Yeah,
Pretty much. So to wrap that up, Tigers,
idiots.
you guys are just. You didn't even have the backbone to get a player back. You know,
Yeah, I know.
Even
Someone, anything. Look,
you couldn't get Sexton back.
No. It's not. You could have tried, but even all right.
If I was Tigers, I'd be like, all right, we want Jacob Preston. At least. Give us a fucking
give
forward.
us something,
You guys have, all right, you breed 500 forwards. You want Galvin that bad? All right. You can have Galvin in
They're
18...
spineless.
No. You can't have Galvin in 18 months. He's going to go play reserve grade until then. Or you can take him now, become a premiership favourite, which is fair. And you have so many forwards, we'll at least fucking want Jacob Preston. You can't even put your line in the sand and say that. You guys are just pathetic. Dogs, on the other hand, look, you got your man.
Well, now there's expectation. I think that's the biggest thing for Dogs that they have to deal with.
And Dogs fans, I'm not buying this fucking chemistry.
No,
you don't get off that easily.
No way.
Last year when you comes had no players, all I heard is you're going to win the comp and come top four. Now that you're were 9-1 4 nights ago and just added the best teenager in the league, now you're scared of fucking... What is he going to do, not pass to Stephen Crichton? Sure, okay. Speaking of the Bullfrogs, we're coming from a high to a little bit of a low, but saved by the news today, obviously. You guys essentially got absolutely mauled by the Finns. 44-8 in perfect overs weather, apparently. In the pissing down rain, the Finns came to play, and you guys came asleep, apparently. 8 all, 15, 20 minutes into the game, and you blink and you see 44-8 on the scoreboard. Did not see that coming.
I didn't.
We were on the Dolphins on the spread of
13.5.
4 days before the game kicked off. Obviously, this closed at 5.5, which I'm kind of glad we got on the early line because I probably would have taken the Dogs line.
Yeah.
Gun to my head if I was betting on game day. And I know the narrative's going to be that, the Bulldogs were missing 20 fucking players and yada, yada, yada. But from my end, they had enough to justify closing as favourites and winning this game at least, if not by 6, by 2 or 1. Or maybe losing by 4 if they got unlucky. But essentially it was a complete no-show from the Dogs.
This is I don't care about the game. Finns are still shit. Dogs are obviously, we're saying grand final at this point. My conspiracy theorist kind of comes in. It kind of felt like, all right, we knew Galvin was coming. We have nothing today. It's all right. We'll lose. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a bit.
I know that it's un-Bulldog-like. Bulldogs don't play like this. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm saying. What the fuck happened? There's no reason to lose 44-6 at all. And they just looked at it and were like, well, it's a bit hard. We don't have Critter. We're getting Galvin. He'll be in camp next week.
Let's Oj.
And they look like that. The defense at the end, in that sort of weather, is perfect Dogs weather to defend. And they just let the Red Sea part for everyone. Soft tries. Just shit. And look, it was a common occurrence across the whole round. But
for the favourites anyway.
For the favourites at least. But it just looked like arse. And then offensively, and this is where Galvin plugs in perfectly, they looked awful offensively. They couldn't put anything together. Didn't matter what Burton put. All they could do is the inside route, which worked against Roosters, but didn't work against Dolphins. They defended that, and when they got to the edges, they couldn't score. So it was all right, Galvin's coming, all good, so we can score now.
I think that just set us up for a really, really, really funny Roosters take later in the episode.
What else is to take away from this game? Finns Finns can make the 8 still. Everyone can, though.
This game in isolation, good job, Finns.
Good win.
You came to Sydney, you rolled the sleeves up against a team renowned for rolling the sleeves up. You beat them at their own game and the points came late at the game. I haven't seen you come to defend like that for literally your entire franchise's existence. Fantastic win. You're still us. We'll see what happens going forward.
They like beating the big teams. That's all.
You are the Giants.
Well, they've beaten
you're the Dragons of the Queensland.
They've beaten both grand finalists, so I mean...
On the dog side of things, you didn't get away with it a third week in a row, I guess.
Yeah.
You go down 50-0 to Raiders, come back and win by 50. You go down 14-0 to Roosters, you come back and win. As we alluded to, the Roosters' own stupidity. And this time you ran into a team that once they got the lead, they didn't fucking let the foot off the gas and you had no answers.
Well, you're giving them points, right? I think Dolphins are kind of like one other team that also won this week. They think they can score.
Yeah.
But if you give them a chance, they'll score.
To be honest, like, Dolphins didn't even score through backyard footy. There was just, like, Donahue takes a hit up and he's just through. And Josh Gers takes a hit up and he's just through.
I can't imagine that Farnworth try ever happening again on the Dogs line.
That won't happen for the rest of the season. So, like you said, I don't know if they were just too tired from all these comebacks. I don't know if they're like, well, fuck, we got this guy. I don't know if they're like, well, Critter's not out here, so we'll just give up. But essentially, they gave up. Have you bought enough like stock of this team that you're not going to sell it after a loss like this? No. Obviously, the bye comes at a good time between player suspension, injuries, and origin duty, and the
that's what I'm saying. It makes it even better, right?
After the bye round, you come back and no one. This loss can just be swept under the carpet and no one gives a fuck, including me.
I don't know. I'm worried about what Para will be come that game. The spread wise.
Pick him. How can you overcome Para? Which is a great segue into the Friday night thriller in Manila, which only one team fucking rocked up for this one as well, and it wasn't the favourite. Manly go down, what was the full-time score? 30 to 10? 10 measly points against Para. What was the point of running out Turbo and Homoli, in my opinion? We sent out -6.5 and say, is that it? And apparently we took -6.5 on the wrong team.
Well,
Jason Riles,
he's
sorry,
cooking.
I guess.
He's cooking, mate. He's cooking.
I'm sorry, man.
They do look good. Manly
shout out to Seabass and shout out to Joel.
Yeah, Manly was soft through the middle of the park. But we expected it. Because what's strange about this NRL is how can you even compare them to Penrith? But Manly played this exact same lineup in the exact same stadium with the same forwards. Yeah, okay, they had Cherry Evans. And they belted Penrith. Belted them.
I'm not so sure that Para wouldn't belt Penrith tomorrow.
Well, they might. Well, what's interesting, it's actually only 3.5 next week. And that's assuming that I guess the Origin players will play.
Sure.
But what can you say about Penrith, which we'll get to them in a second?
There are certain teams that operate better without Origin players.
Yeah, I guess. But Para, have they turned the corner? I mean, they've actually woken up. I've heard a lot. Oh yeah, they're going to make the 8. Like, all right, pump the brakes. All right, they're not that good, but they looked much better. But I think this was more Manly again.
Yeah, they were.
Manly were putrid.
Why?
Soft through the middle, just letting meters come through, especially without Lomax being there. Like, it makes no sense. And like, from my point of view, I've touted Manly really high. I can't anymore. They're shit.
Yeah,
they're actually awful.
Yeah, they're awful.
And like, without Cherry Evans being there, even if he was there, it wasn't the problem. Okay, yes, they've lost a lot of forwards. Yes, they don't have everyone that they wanted to have there. But like, all right,
enough.
In saying that, their starting pack was like Bullymore, Waddell, because Ben Trebojevic didn't play, Jazz. Like, it's fucking shit. But it's Para. Like, how can you defend them?
It's Para without Lomax and
it's the worst team you could see without their Origin stars, and they absolutely destroyed them, to be honest.
And that was after going up 8-0.
Yeah. Well, no.
8-4 or whatever.
No, they scored first after Para had 50 sets and literally one set. And on top of that, Para's edge D, Penasini got ruled out instantly. He was out, got HIA, and they had to start Samrani, who had a great game. Shout out Harry, I think he's his best mate. Samrani had a great game on the edge. Regardless of the defensive problems, it didn't matter because Para just kept piling on the points through the middle. Dylan Walker, he seems like a fucking new man. Cunt's possessed. And
I had Warriors want him back after today.
No, they have Aaron Clark. He's still fighting with the refs, I
just don't know, like... Again, shout out to Seabass, the ambassador of the Eels. Shout out to Joel. I don't even think these cunts saw these guys winning this round.
Nah.
Like, it's just...
I thought there would be two smashings this round.
I sell them to understand why Manly went out there and gave up. They were missing some forwards. Everyone's missing someone this round. And for you guys to just... I don't know what I'm more alarmed about. Conceding 30 or scoring 10. Like, the more you think about both of those things, it's just
awful.
Fucking horrible.
Look, I kind of said this before, and this round is going to be definitely in it. I'm literally not taking any form guide out of this round. It's ridiculous. I actually think going into next week, last week didn't happen.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that as well.
How can you go out and be like, all right, Dolphins and Dogs don't play, Manly do play, and Para play. Para 3.5 against Penrith, who got absolutely molested by Knights, right?
So I feel like that spreads it's like a midway point of they might play, they might not play.
Yeah, I think that's the main point. But like, let's say they play, it'll go to 6. How can you not lay 6? It's fucking Para.
Yeah, well, how can you lay anything in this sport?
Well, you can't lay anything right now.
You said this off camera, and I don't really want to sit and analyse Para and Manly. Full credit to Para. It seems like you turn your season
Manly,
around
you can't suck ass.
From the point that I called you cunts garbage, Jason Riles apparently has stronger response out of the losers in the team, and now they look pretty reasonable.
They look good.
So shout out to you guys. Manly
suck.
My thoughts on Manly. Galvin ruined the Tigers season, and to a lesser degree, from the point that Cherry Evans announced, like, I'm leaving these cunts, they've literally essentially given up. They beat Penrith, but apparently everyone can beat Penrith.
Cowboys.
They beat Raiders the day after the infamous Grant Atkins performance, where he gave 156 against.
Well, something
which
Adam
was
G does about.
Outmatched by Adam G today, but except he gives it to both teams. And they lost the Dragons, they got raped today, they lost the Sharks, they beat Cowboys, which what does that say about them?
Exactly.
But Manly, like, they are so off the pace of what they were in the first 2-3 rounds that I'm inclined to be like, these cunts have given up.
Well, look, I think them and Brisbane are in the same boat right now. Like, who's going to turn it around and really kick up again? Because the first 3 rounds, we were like, these two fucking cunts are going to make these cunts are fucked. Like, how the fuck do you even defend Manly? They're fucked. Or how do you defend Brisbane after they raped Roosters?
No,
now it's just like, these cunts suck.
To me, Brisbane are 2 or 3 players coming back and playing this much better as a team away from, like, molesting teams.
No, if I had to pick one team I'd pick Manly. No. I think Brisbane, like, they're the ones that would give up.
I think Manly have given up. I think Broncos are like, we're not far off.
You know what's interesting now?
Even Broncos, I don't think have gone out there and lost by more than 3 converted tries.
They got raped by someone.
No,
the Para is their own entity, but Para's top 8 side. Shout out Seabass.
No, but I'm saying, like, Broncos, they fuck it up themselves every week and lose by 4.
Yeah, Manly are just pissed.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, it was awful. Honestly, dreadful. But from a representative level, we know how much Jake means, and Jake not being. But then again, Jake wasn't there against Penrith, and they raped him. That just shows how bad Penrith are, which we'll get to in a second.
In a league of at least 10 horrible sides, Penrith's below all of them. Which is crazy.
One thing I want to address is, like, now that we do this analysis, we already know who's going to make the grand final. So it's like, well, these cuts are literally fighting for 3rd at this point.
Yeah.
Well, it's still interesting.
3rd would mean more for some teams than others.
Yeah, of course.
Let's say Raiders come 3rd. They'd be like, fuck, we had a cracking year.
But if Sharks come 3rd, you're kind of like,
you guys are the same. Broncos come 3rd, you're like, okay, how much more talent do you guys want?
Like, would you put Broncos full strength over Dogs? I didn't ask you this before.
I can't say that right now. No, there's
no reason to.
Are they more talented? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They don't play with the ticker or the effort or the energy.
Nowhere near. No, you have to say Dogs. Yeah.
And that's including the fact that they already hammered them this year. But if they play it again, I'll tip Dogs tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm going to introduce this 4th upset or an upset alert win in a row, the Newcastle Knights, which seems like it's very difficult to win 4 upsets in a row, but conveniently all 5 of them won this round because I couldn't go wrong. I literally could have picked any one and they all would have won, which is insane to think about.
It's a good round to have after
and Raiders fucked it up, actually. Raiders were the only team to not win 13 plus as an underdog.
Yeah, because they were too short.
They were too short. You need to be $3 plus. But Knights mopped the floor with Penrith, easiest way possible. Dylan Lucas looked like fucking
Sonny Bill
Williams possessed. I mean,
what's there to say about this guy?
He was walking through that left edge.
Schneider. He just kind of needs 2 headgears next time he plays Knights. Fuck me. Penrith, that lineup you can't run out is, I would have them plus 12.5 to Knights if they played tomorrow. That lineup between Schneider, Blaze, Milky, Dane Laurie, Mitch Kenny, Lindsay Smith, Liam Henry, Eisenhuth.
Liam Henry's, that was awful.
Eisenhuth, Casey McLean, whoever the fuck came off the bench, if they ever run a lineup like that out again, I would minimum start them 12.5 plus, let alone putting them -5 to anyone. How can you blink and be down 24-0 to Knights, who haven't scored that probably in 3 months in total?
Yeah, I'm actually more concerned the first try. The Fletcher Sharp try. That
I was like...
fucked. How the fuck did you concede that?
Next Origin round, like, Penrith should run out with a different jersey on. These cunts don't deserve that jersey.
Honestly,
to allow
awful.
that Fletcher Sharp try?
Yeah, like, alright, Dylan Lucas, it was Schneider's fault,
I honestly think you could put Isaiah on the field by himself against 13 Knights players. He wouldn't have considered that Fletcher Sharp try.
No way.
Let alone, like, these guys have won 4 Premier... Like, some of these players on the field have come on and, like, put an end to the Broncos, like Ezra Mam's hat-trick and beaten, like, Jerome Hughes, Munster. Like, Liam Henry and shit is the same bums that come in and, like, contribute.
Well, Mitch Kenny, how many premierships does he have? 3?
Lindsay Smith's played for Australia, but you take out, like, it's fucking Knights.
Yeah. Knights are still shit. Let's just stay it the way it is. The fact you can't only scored 1 point in the second half is something else. But anyway, like...
You got to give Knights something.
Yeah, but, like, at least they won the game. They could have given up, but at least they won the game. And I don't know where you put Kalen in. It's genuinely a question. Bro, they looked much better.
I don't care. It's that... Mate,
that was Penrith. Are you saying that was all Penrith? Okay.
This is the same Knights team that will go out next week and not score.
Well, look, some of those short balls... In a normal week, they wouldn't go through for Dylan Lucas.
No.
But it's just Schneider being there. They just kept attacking him.
Let's just call a spade a spade.
All right, are they going to put Kalen back?
Kalen's the only reason these cunts have any wins against a normal first-grade side in the past 3 to 4 seasons, right? Outside of him playing like a Dalian medalist, this club has nothing in going for
they're done.
If he's not playing fullback, what are they going to do? Move him to 5'8" again so he dies, like tackling? That's not worth it.
Adam O'Brien would have put past him.
Fletcher Sharp... Going forward, I mean, him, Dillbags, and Kalen, that's pretty good. Sharp's actually good.
I mean, this is not...
You get Bradman
I'm sorry,
back
Knights fans, but I'm going to say something maybe you guys won't agree with. Well, you won't like.
Why are we talking about Knights?
I'm just like, why would Fletcher Sharp stay? Like,
yeah.
At this point, like, I can clearly see he's better positioned as fullback. He might not be better than Kalen.
But I think his junior years were in the halves.
Yeah, no, I agree. But just watching him when he played fullback, I was like, yeah, all right, this guy's gone.
I think if I was Fletcher Sharp, I would stay because
of the future. I get it.
No, not because of that, but it's really hard to play fullback in the NRL.
I agree.
There's so many good fullbacks. We're really devoid of good 5'8s, right? So. Let's say Fletcher Sharp becomes a really gun fullback.
Yeah, but then he's not going to play 5'8". I'm just saying.
He will.
Dillbags
will play halfback. And Fletcher Sharp will play 6.
That's going to work out so well. Anyway.
Yeah, I think that's the best.
That's probably what they'll do. But.
You get to play 5'8" and look better than what you are because you're playing off Dillbags and Kalen.
Yeah.
Right? But if he goes to play fullback for Titans, like he's just going to be shit anyway.
Well, look, I don't know. In my mind, I would rather Sharp than KO Weeks.
I don't know if you can say that yet.
I would rather
on potential, like he's good. Like,
he's
really
good. He's fantastic. Like I think KO Weeks is also good, but I've seen enough from Sharp to be like, yeah, I'd rather Sharp.
No, fair enough.
And like, there's a lot of club like fullback is the most key position. Yes, it's the most difficult to get in, but like, are Knights just that awful? Like, do you think they'll turn it around with Dillbags? I think they're still shit. Like, this was more Penrith than anything else.
I feel like if they get a different coach with Dillbags, yeah.
Yeah, but who the fuck's going to coach these bums?
Outside of what we watch from Newcastle week after week, there's actually a lot to work with.
Yeah, they have fine teams.
I'm telling you,
unbelievable how bad they are.
I would sit here and say right now, they're full strength versus full strength. They're much more talented than Raiders and Warriors.
Yeah, they are.
Warriors can't say we have a Kalen Ponga. Neither can Raiders. Their forward pack has talent.
Yep.
Raiders and Warriors can't say they have a Bradman Best and Gagai in the centres.
No.
And these cunts go out there and score 4 every round. There has to be something wrong.
There has to be something stopped. It's got to be the coach.
I can't be like, Kalen and Fletcher Sharp are not good enough to score. Like, it's Adamo, bro. We know it's him. Right? Yeah, get him out of there. Grab
It's enough analysis on Knights.
And that's enough talking about Knights for weeks.
I don't know what to say about the next game.
I'm not done with Penrith.
Your team.
I mean, to go out there 24-0 to Knights. Do you feel like the bookies were just like they opened this at 8.5
No,
after
no.
Teamworth.
No, bookies are lost. They don't know what to do.
How can you put this ninth team
That-
8.5 point?
They don't know what to do. I mean, it's just
Okay, realistically, what could they have done? Put them, pick them.
they lost anyway.
Everyone would have taken Penrith and lost anyway.
Yeah.
So
Well, realistically, this is the issue with all of them winning 13 plus. What are the bookies supposed to do? Put Roosters pick 'em against Sharks full strength.
everyone would take Sharks and lose.
Yeah.
Put Dogs, pick them to Dolphins. Everyone would take Dogs and lose.
Put Para pick 'em to Manly.
Yeah,
And then
everyone would take Manly and lose.
It's what's actually killing them at this point, and we'll get to Roosters because this is the pinnacle game, in my opinion, like the biggest shock of them all, for sure. Because there's no reason. Typical Sharks, right?
Nah, for me it's Manly, bro. I was blindsided.
Anyway.
That was insane.
The issue is, it's not that they're covering.
Yeah, I know.
Bookies would love it. Okay, Warriors won outright. Okay, if they put them in their multi, sure, but they lose on the spread. Everyone that takes the spread, all the sharps that take the spread lose because fucking Para want to cover 6.5. Woo! But
They just
they
win.
fucking win anyway, and you just blindly take the underdogs and they win at this point. It's done.
Yeah.
What are we 6 in a? I actually was going to check that. That's what I was going to check. You can talk about Sharks if there's anything to say. I think we're like 7 in a row.
Well, South was pick 'em.
Yeah, but they were
They were leaning underdog in some places. Who was the last favourite that won?
No, well, Raiders.
Raiders, yeah. Because Titans were involved.
Oh, well, look.
Dragons won.
Of our last 8 games,
Yeah.
7 of them have the underdog as one.
What about if you keep scrolling?
Oh, no,
Sharks
make it 8.
won. Manly won.
They
Warriors
were
was
favourite.
close to a pick 'em.
Yeah, that was the first, that's the last underdog cover.
They covered and lost. How
Para won outright.
this is ridiculous. Outside of Raiders last round raping Titans, we haven't had a proper favourite cover in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's not they're not close.
Yeah, I know, they win.
Like the underdog just goes out. The underdogs perform and win like the favourites should.
It's not that they win by 2 or something stupid
I know.
happens. They just fucking beat them.
How Para won, that's how I thought Manly would win.
Yeah.
How Roosters won, that's how I thought Sharks would win. I don't I mean, look, I would say we came on and we were like, there's 3 games this week that are completely mispriced. One was the Dolphins one, which shortened to a fair value. They won anyway. The next one was Sharks, which we sent out -3.5. Went to -10.5, and they got 13 plus. And the last one was Knights, which we were like, you can't be 8-point underdogs.
Yeah.
And they won by 50 anyway. So
And what, in addition, even the spread is killing them because in all 3 of those games, right? Okay, Dolphins came in more because of the changes, but it still came in after that. Like the weather and all that. Everyone was taking Dolphins. Roosters, you woke up one morning and it jumped from 10 to 8 and you were like, what the fuck's going on?
I know the most avid cunts that blindly take underdogs. Even they didn't take Roosters.
No one would have taken
Why would
Roosters. Roosters was the one, but everyone else, they would have won. What I'm saying is, on the Saturday, there's a 2-game slate, right? Knights were hammered from 8 to 5.
Yeah.
So you win on Knights. Some people would have taken underdogs, and you lose on Roosters. The bookies don't win anything. At this point, because even if you sprinkled a little bit on Knights at $2.50, they were $4 at $2.50. You win for the day. The bookies lose because these motherfuckers just keep winning.
We have 30, 40, 50 years of sports betting that the bookies pray for underdogs to win. Now they're praying for a favourite.
Yeah, because
they're please, I'm sick of paying these cunts in the public
Yeah.
that are how many multis have you seen? Shout out to Dan Tran. You know what Dan Tran's multi was? He had whatever he had, $110 odds. Guess what his legs were?
Well,
Dolphins head to head, Para head to head, Knights head to head, Roosters head to head. And he's like, oh yeah, I won. I'm like, fuck, you should have threw Raiders in there as well.
Yeah, fuck
I
it.
was like, what if you just took them all 13 plus? What the fuck would the odds be then? Insane.
How many odds was that? 100 to 1?
120?
So if
Just the underdogs to win.
13 plus would have been in thousands.
Yeah, I know. It's nuts. The probability of this shit happening is incomprehensible, but it just happens every round.
game.
It's fucked. Penrith.
You still can't get past Penrith.
Can they come last, truly?
Yeah.
Is the top 8 done and dusted for them?
Oh yeah, done.
There's no way they can.
I mean, one of the
How
5.
many wins do they have? 3?
Yeah.
How many wins do Souths have?
7.
No, they have 6.
Oh, 6 and 7.
As awful as Penrith are, they can still make it.
You know what's interesting? Someone said this. If Dogs played Penrith tomorrow, probably at full strength, there'd probably only be like 6.5.
Dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. But if Dogs played Para, which we'll see in a couple of weeks.
They'd be like 20.
Yeah, like...
Well, if Para was still like at their awful stage.
They still would, even with Moses and Lomax, they're still going to be at least 12.
Or even Dogs like played Titans and in Gold Coast it was like 12.5.
Yeah.
And Titans didn't even cover that. So,
Exactly.
yeah, it just goes to show like Penrith's just been the season from hell from them. I don't think anyone feels sorry for them after the
No one
5-year
gives a
run
fuck
they've
about
had.
them.
So fuck them.
Fuck them.
Moving on to the Sydney Tupos against the Cronulla Sharks.
Is it like this is the perfect game to say let's just like erase it from your memory because it doesn't make any sense.
I'm not letting Sharks off.
The only thing I'm going to say is I've said this a few times about you, Trent Robinson. I mean, these boys have won 2 of the most incredible games and played great. This one they played awesome against a full strength Cronulla side, and you're just going to fucking bring in Lindsay Collins again? Seriously?
Yeah, so they can go and lose the Titans.
With
Len Yu and
this same team went out to a 14-point lead, which we saw last week against Dogs. Obviously, Dogs are, at that point, I thought Sharks were better than Dogs. But in this point, there's a different story. But 14-point lead, and they just kept going with it. They defended hard. They defended their line well. Yes, they made errors, but at least they defended. What we saw from Roosters last week was you give a penalty, you can see straight away, or you drop it and you can see straight away. They defended it. They made mistakes. They just kept going. And Sharks, how can... I don't know what to say. I don't even know. It's Sharks being Sharks. They win at Manly, go home, beat Melbourne at home, and they think they're fucking world champions, and they lose to Roosters. That's all it is. There's no other way around it.
The reason Manly caught me more off guard than this game was, I think I remember vividly in the preview being like to you, it would laughing almost of first of all, we're it's 3.5. Is that it?
Yeah.
We saw it go to 10, and we were like, you know what? Sharks are the type of morons that would beat Melbourne last week, go to Brookvale and win, and then come and lose to Fekete or whoever it was.
The way they lost is something else. 40?
Okay. Number one, I think I'll have Roosters in my 8. I think they're going to make it. These cunts have they've turned the corner, and don't worry about Collins and Len Yu and Watson and all these morons. They do get Sam Walker back soon. And at the stage of the season where they were 1-4, they did have a line in the sand moment of, all right, we're just going to give up. Or, Rabbitohs was missing from this lineup as well. The Latrell stopper himself.
Yeah, we'll see about that in 2 days.
From that point forward, I think this is their signature win of the season to show me that we're actually bought in. We're going to ride Teddy's coattails, and I think they will play finals footy. Shout out to Barnesy. Shout out to J-Maz. What a victory from your squad. Barnesy, even you yourself were 10.5 is that it? Of we're going to lose by 50.
Oh, I thought they would too.
On the other side of things, I feel like NRL coaches don't fucking think that much. I have a solution that at 6-0, I would be like, I'm going to put an end to this nonsense, and I'm just going to switch Ronaldo and this fuckwit, and I'll just put Ronaldo on Tupou, and I won't sit there to watch 5 more tries of Sandon Smith just chip it in the air, and this guy catch it and put it down.
Yeah.
All right.
Shit. It's just shit.
Can I get mad at Sharks for losing to a 6'6" winger against a 6-foot loser? I can't.
Look.
Was the possession even? Yeah. Were the errors even? Yeah. Were the 6 agains and penalties and everything,
everything
pretty
was
even? Yeah. Ronaldo got sin bin for smashing the shit out of Nwanga Nituase, but they actually didn't even concede a try in that 10-minute period. So literally, you can't run out there and lost because they had a 6'5" winger and yours was 6 foot. That's it.
Yeah.
All their tries were the same.
And they had a game plan. So shout out Trent Robinson on that. They knew that Harati was the problem. Yeah. And look, if Stone Street was there, if Sione was there, look, this is a 3rd string winger. It didn't matter because that's what I agree. Craig Fitzgibbon needed to make that decision very early. It's very simple because look, even if this was a finals game, you have to do it.
Yeah, you have to.
It doesn't matter if Sione is there. It doesn't matter if Stone Street was there. It would have been the same problem. They're not tall enough. Yep. Ronaldo, he isn't tall, but he has the jump.
Yep.
And you have to make that decision. I feel like He was worried. Oh, he can't play right.
Who gives a fuck?
Literally.
Obviously, old mate can't play right either.
No. But the issue was when Roosters were trying to pass through them, they couldn't get through.
Yeah, they couldn't. Yeah, literally all of their tries were the same
They
until
couldn't get through.
they started playing backyard footy,
that
and
was
Teddy
different.
did the flick pass, which was good to see. The Roosters played some good footy, and I'm not taking anything away from Roosters. Like you said, they went completely undermanned with a siege mentality, and they went with a game plan. They stuck to it. It was working. How many times have you seen like a team would do some shit like kick to Tupa once or twice, they'll score, and then
stop.
they'll just go away from it. At least they peppered it for 80 minutes. Like, you got to give them credit for that.
I agree, yeah.
And this was like a massive win for you guys, considering what Sharks have done for the last 2 weeks. Can I sit here and nuke Sharks when they literally just lost to one tactical mistake? I'm not sure I can.
No, I feel like they had moments also in the game that Roosters may have tried something else if they just scored off them. And what we've said from day one is Sharks' problem isn't actually defense anymore. They can't score anymore for whatever reason. It makes no sense to me. Yeah. But they literally can't score anymore.
Which, conveniently, the only cunts they actually scored against were Melbourne, who can't defend anymore. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, if last round was around that full, everyone tried and everyone gave it all they got, and they're actually the good teams, then you can't say anything about Cronulla. And this round is just fucking, let's not worry about it. Like, as per our fucking preview, just let it go through. Which I'll also defend one other team, which is the last. And G's are going to be fucking excited because I'm going to defend them. I literally think just wipe the slate clean. Don't even think this round existed. That's the point of it. Every single game, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Like now, everyone thinks Knights are good.
Let me rest assured to the whole world. There's nothing good about Knights. Don't get tricked.
At Warriors next week, I mean, I haven't looked at it, but it was Pick'em when it opened. I'm assuming South have almost become favourite.
Because of fucking...
Raiders
came out and won for the 500th week in a row. Yeah. No, Warriors are favourite now.
They lost and they're now favourite. This sport. It's ridiculous.
Sports are so bad. Anyway...
Well, look,
Sharks, like, you guys were asleep. Fitzgibbon just not like thinking on his feet enough and was willing to watch 80 minutes of Daniel Tupou out-leaping fucking Harodi. Sure.
Now these motherfuckers are picking.
Yeah, I know. And Roosters might win. That's the sport. Anyway, moving on to the Wires.
The thriller in Manila.
Falling to the might of the Canberra Raiders. Shout out to Charles Kroon. Shout out to all my G's out there.
I'll shout him out too.
Unfortunately for you guys, you are finally coming to the Back Yourself podcast. Off a loss, if you do have...
They won't come back.
If you do have the character and conviction and you're not a front-running piece of shit that comes to us 8 rounds in a row after all those wins, and now you don't want to come and hear what we have to say after you guys have a loss, I will hand over to Christopher because...
Well, I hope they all come back because I'm not going to say anything bad about them. This is an Adam G fucking garbage.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I mean... Okay, they lost. They lost by 6. But fuck me, put the whistle away. It's ridiculous. All right, you gave it both sides. This guy thinks he's Chris Butler, but he took it to another level.
Chris Butler wouldn't have done this.
Yeah, no, but Chris Butler would have given calls both ways, right? It's fine.
Chris Butler is renowned that, all right, you get 4 calls, and the rest of it is footy. This motherfucker was just...
I mean, incredible. Anyway... Like, all right, I'll give some calls that happen in the game. Let's disregard the sin bids completely because there's other shit.
I'd rather not, but sure.
First one, luckily Warriors didn't score. Dallin goes up in the air, clearly dropped it. Ball, like, I don't think there's more clear in my life. Luckily, they go down the other end and Pompey throws it out. Otherwise, Raiders would have conceded for literally no reason. And then in the second half, this was the most blatant one. I don't know, Starling dropped it, right? Listen, this is what's fucked, right? This is like, they knew they fucked up, but they knew they would go against them. Starling dropped it completely.
They didn't call that.
They didn't call it. Halasima walks through the ruck, and Adam G's like, you know what? I'm going to fix this.
The whole sequence of Starling dropped it, they didn't call it, he picked it up, he jumped and got smashed by Halasima, but somehow ended up on the other side of him, went to play the ball. Halasima was just walking through the ruck and kicked the ball, and Adam G's like, no, this guy dropped it.
And then the Raiders are like, I can't challenge it because this guy dropped it in the first place.
They did a way better challenge later in the game. But, yeah, Adam, I'm not sure this game's worth talking about because, and I'm not saying it's Raiders probably like
They're both got calls.
I'm impressed that you guys won. If anything, the like 50-50 calls probably didn't even go your way.
Yeah.
But just the nature of the calls was just out of fucking control. From the start, where Raiders got 106 against at the start of the game, I was like, why is he doing this?
Yeah.
But then he was like, I'm calling too many. I got to do make-up calls now. And then he went like to the extent of sin-binning Horsburgh. At this point, it's 8-0. And I was like, Warriors will win. They're playing like wet weather footy. They're playing physical. They're playing tough. Raiders like don't want the smoke today. Warriors are doing everything right. And from the point that
Starling scored,
Horsburgh got sin-binned, when I saw Warriors go side to side and throw it out, because they had been going through them so easily the whole game.
Oh, yeah, that Chanel pass.
As soon as Chanel threw it and they went outside on Roger's side, I was like, they're going to go and concede
Why
to
did
12.
Roger quit there? I don't know.
I was like, they're going to go and concede to 12 men, aren't they? And Raiders, they showed that in this weather, you can have 2 men. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just go through the middle, eventually offload some garbage, and you'll score.
Yeah.
They got to 8-6. Warriors defended 100 sets in a row just to concede a dropout with 10 seconds left. And fucking Pompey's already on the Raiders try line. This cunt's like, well,
I have to
give another my 50th call of offside. So we go 8-all into the break. So we go from 8-all to 8-0, even though you fuckwits had a sin bin. And then you get a call after halftime. Go for how many? Like these guys take the 2 like 3 times a week.
Yeah.
They're out of control.
They have to.
So they took the 2.
They can't score.
That was the last points they scored for the game.
Then Raiders took the 2.
Raiders took the 2, got it to 10-all.
After the sin bin. They got a sin bin.
This is where the game fucked up because we went to start the game 15 minutes of calls to Raiders, 50 minutes of calls for Warriors. And I'm not even saying a lot of them weren't like deserved. Raiders were slowing the rock a lot.
They did it on purpose.
But from the point that you can't like only was 10-all after 55 minutes of calls, I was like, Raiders are going to get the calls for the last 20 minutes. They got the sin bin, and from that point, it was completely done and dusted.
Look, what we've said is that it's a game of runs. It's literally turned into the NBA.
Yeah,
it's a game of runs.
Yep.
If you don't get enough points on your board in your run, you're going to lose.
Yep.
It's simple as that. And Warriors, the G's are like often against me, but this is what I'm saying is like you had your run, you scored 8. Like it's not enough, and that's why your point difference is 6. Like precisely, you love the tight games, but. Teams like Raiders, who are the number 1 renowned for this, they score garbage.
They'll score some garbage.
They always score garbage. Yeah. And Fogarty walks through the line, and you saw fucking Tamari Martin's effort, which also, you could say it's a tactical thing. Why the fuck is Roger not a fullback?
Yeah. It's
just stupid. This guy refuses to put him at number 1, even when fucking Chansy's off the field. Stupidity. But I can't imagine if fucking Roger was there, he would have pumped him. Dumb. And that was it. They scored that try, and they didn't look back from that. Yes, Warriors had their chances at the end. Did anyone think they were going to score in the last 5 minutes? Even when the sin bin came in for the challenge of the decade from Tarpany, which was awful. Didn't matter. They just held him out.
What Tarpany did, because he was on report himself 4 times, he wanted everyone to focus on this cunt's being on report.
Maybe.
So now both of them can kick on next week, because I don't think they'll play.
Well, I don't think Tarpany plays. He was on report twice, and the first crusher was really bad. I can't believe he didn't get sin bin.
So you're saying Raiders are going to lose their best forward, and Roosters are going to get all 4 of their good forwards back.
Let's see what happens with these idiots.
Interesting. But this was awful. Like, both teams competed really hard, and that was enjoyable to watch. But this was an awful display of refereeing.
Awful refereeing from Adam G.
To a point where I would say the game was borderline unwatchable.
Well, look, for me, Adam G was probably my number 1 rate. I can't put him up there anymore. He fucked it over. He actually was decent the last couple of weeks.
He came with an agenda to just start sin-binning cunts today.
I think he thought it was like 3 p.m. at fucking Townsville or some shit. The way he was reffing it was like, you need to get off immediately. It was literally fucking pouring rain. What's this guy doing?
Why? That's just so uncalled for. Can you really hold it against Warriors for losing today? Not really. I think like
they drew a loss.
They definitely missed Fisher Harrison Barnett.
Oh yeah. But I mean the same.
I thought Raiders really missed Hudson a lot. Like that first 10 minutes, you notice the spark of Hudson's not there.
Yeah.
And from that point, like Warriors, you just like you said, having 50 minutes of the ball unimpeded to getting a sin bin. When you lose the sin bin period 8-0, we saw in the Broncos game last week, you're just going to end up giving up at the end, and that's what you can't did. So fair enough. Still, like sitting pretty. I think both these teams now are 8-3.
Yeah.
Raiders probably edge them on point differential because
9-3.
they can actually score.
Raiders are 9-3, yeah.
9-3. So Raiders sitting pretty at second place right now. Warriors still in the top 4 entrenched. And back to the drawing board for the G's out there. But I know we've been waiting for them to lose so we can call them garbage. But today I don't think is the day for that.
No, I don't think they played garbage.
Me neither.
Obviously, you expect them to score more than 10, but they've been doing this the whole time and winning anyway. So it's like it's not. Will it catch up with them later? That's probably what we're hoping for.
And a bit of credit to the Raiders as well. Like stopping Niokore short on the try line at the end, shit like that. Like they really showed that. I have an interesting take. I don't know if you agree with me. You know when Raiders were asleep for the first 30 minutes? And then the game got like chirpy and physical and like it became like a ugly contest. I was like, Raiders will like come out on top of this sort of game.
Yeah,
So like fuck.
That's the type. But in my scenario, like why I don't put Raiders like that high is that if they do that 30 minutes against the good teams, they're down 24-0.
The thing is, they've done it against all of them. They did it against Melbourne. I don't know how they clawed back and won. Obviously, the calls were like.
They did it against Sharks and also called
They did it against Sharks and won. They
And-
did it
and
against Dogs, but
and they did it the other way.
The other way. So they're just a product of this garbage league and sport that everyone can lead by 20, everyone can concede by 20.
And they're good version. They're literally a good version of South. When they're good, they're great. South, when they're good, like all right, they bring
decent.
it back. But literally for like 40 minutes of each of their games, they give up every time. South give up more.
No, Souths are in their own category.
Yeah, no, but it's the same principle. They both apply the same.
That's a lot of teams in the league, though. Like, Dogs are first, and they do that every other week. It's just this week they gave up for 80 instead of 40.
Well, Dogs gave up the last 20. Like, it was just...
Yeah, they gave up.
Gus must have called them and be like...
Yeah, we got him.
We
They're
got
like, yeah. They're celebrating down 40. Anyway.
Any predictions for Origin? Because we're doing this 2 days before.
New South Wales is going to absolutely destroy these
Well,
guys.
obviously, that's what we're going to agree. Now, in terms of next week, which we'll get to more in the preview, but do we expect everyone just to fucking turn around and play?
All right, just a very quick sneak peek
Well,
preview
well,
into the
look,
preview of the round
I
after Origin.
I think the biggest one is Kalen.
I'm going to go game by game. I'll tell you what day they're playing. You let me know if you think they'll back up or not. Dragons don't even have an Origin player, do
It's
they?
just Kalen.
Which was snubbed, I guess, after he fucking dropped it against Tigers. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Kalen, will he back up for Knights? I'll say no.
I don't think there's any reason to.
Me neither. Especially after they won without him. Maybe gives them like a little bit more 1 week. Titans and Melbourne.
Oh, yeah, they'll play.
The
I think everyone, maybe not Harry.
Yeah, I don't think
I don't think
Grant will play.
there's no reason
Munster
for
will
Harry
play
to go
for
out
no
there.
reason.
Munster will play, and they might not
Really?
all play. Maybe they won't play because they're going to beat them anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't need Munster and Grant to
But
beat
big
Titans.
side,
Tino
will be a big question
He'll
mark.
play. 'Cause
Yeah,
I don't think he'll play 80 in Origin, and he's the captain for Titans. He'll run
Well, he
out
might
there.
have to. Carrigan's
Whatever will play.
Yeah, Fonaweka.
Firmo will play.
Yeah.
I expect Titans to have all their Origin players.
Yeah.
Cowboys and Tigers.
The classic Cowboys usually give up. Dearden's not going to play a lot of minutes, so he should
He'll play. Nana and Cotter. I think they'll all play.
Yeah,
They'll all play and they'll give up.
maybe. Tigers have nothing. No one, right?
Manly and Broncos.
Terrell, Manly and Broncos. I expect everyone from Manly to play.
Cherry will play.
Broncos, do they have Cobbo? No, they have nothing.
Carrigan and
Oh,
Haas.
I doubt Carrigan will play.
Carrigan and Haas.
Again, both of them are both injury clouds.
I think Carrigan will play. I don't think Haas will play.
Haas is even questioned for
Nah,
fucking play. It's
He'll
the
play.
fir-
He'll play.
I,
I have news that they will play him.
fuck me, like the fact he hasn't trained is fucked. I mean, that's where we said that the question marks over New South Wales. That if we lose Haas, fuck me. Anyway,
Souths and Warriors.
I think by Sunday, the only cunts will give up is Latrell.
Penrith are playing on Sunday. I think all of them will play.
Yeah, well now they're fucked. They have to. South, they're definitely a question mark. Latrell might not play.
He'll play.
He's going to play 80 at centre.
Yeah, he'll play.
He's tired.
Nah, he'll die for Souths. He's the captain now.
And Barnett, he
Barnett
should
will play.
Yeah.
Raiders and Roosters. All the Roosters morons will play because none of them play 80 except Angus Crichton, but he'll back up by Sunday. And Hudson will play for Canberra.
Yeah, of course. So I think
play
it shouldn't be too bad. Kalen's probably the biggest question mark, I would say.
I think he's an exclamation mark. He's going to give up.
Well, he's got to come from Queensland all the way. There's no way. I don't
To
think.
go fucking play Dragons. No way.
Fuck that.
No
I
chance.
agree.
Yeah, no, but I think as far as reviewing this round, I'll flush it out of my memory. As far as I'm concerned, There wasn't even a game of footy played this
Yeah,
weekend.
no, I'm good. I would take it completely away. Congrats to all the teams that won.
Congrats to all the underdogs. Dolphins, big statement win. Para, have you turned the season? It looks likely. Knights, sure, you beat Penrith with nothing. Roosters, probably the most impressive win of the whole round. Sharks, wake up. And today, Raiders in the top 4 contest that went down to the wire. You showed that you probably are a better team than
And
Warriors.
Adam J, we showed you.
Adam G, you shouldn't show your face in public for the next 2 weeks.
Agreed.
Other than that, up the fucking mighty Blues.
Go the Blues.
We will have a State of Origin podcast drop for you guys come Thursday morning. And the round preview, unfortunately, is going to be dropped Thursday afternoon because, look, we can possibly upload it Friday morning because the only games that the cunts will miss is Dragons and Knights.
Who cares?
But that might be the most important game of the season.
Without Calais.
Because can Dragons go from beating Broncos to losing to fucking Fletcher Sharp?
They can, yeah, of course not.
Anything's possible with Dragons. Shout out to the Zarafos brothers. And shout out from the Back Yourself podcast. Hope you guys back some underdogs this week. And if you back the favourite, I'm sorry.
And you would have won.
There's a favourite coming around the corner on Wednesday night, baby. Up the Blues. See you guys on the Origin review, which I hope I will not be in pain after the Maroons losing by 1 and covering. Peace out, guys.
Peace.